Hi, I'm Michael Choi, and today we're going to talk about method of sale in the listing presentation. We have a joke in our office. It's called, do you want an auction or do you want an auction? We're quite an auction-orientated office, and I'll just show you why. I say to the client, first I say, do you have a preference of method of sale? We'll go down that track and down that avenue and ask them, tell me a little bit more about that. And then I say, look, both auction and private sale both have their advantages and disadvantages. How about I show you those advantages and disadvantages, and then you can make up your mind from there. Then they have a look at it. So I say, there's two possible scenarios that can happen when you put up your house for sale. Hypothetically, let's just say the house is worth anywhere between 500 and 580, thereabouts. There's two possible scenarios that can happen. One is what we call an outlier buyer. So you've got one buyer that's willing to pay a lot more than everybody else. Okay. The other possible scenario that can happen is you get a group of buyers that are willing to pay roughly at around about the same figure. Okay. Now, if you have this outlier position, it's very good for a private sale because this buyer doesn't know that these buyers are lower and still pays that premium price. Okay. However, it's not good for an auction because if you brought this scenario to an auction, this buyer won't pay thereabouts. They actually end up paying down here because the second highest buyer pushes that buyer only that much. Okay? So great for a private sale, not good for an auction. On the reverse, if you have a group of buyers interested roughly at the same level, that's not good for a private sale because we will call the buyers up, tell them that it's about to sell, say it's about, we're getting all offers in the envelopes by the end of today, 5 o'clock. You need to have all your offers, your best offer in, get them to sign a buyer disclaimer saying that they put their best offer, yet they still don't put their best offer because they think that we're making up that there's other buyers. They think it's the old school real estate trick and, you know, real estate 101, there's another buyer out there, hey honey, did you hear that? They said there's another buyer. They don't believe it for some reason, okay, and whether it be because of their history or what have you, they don't believe it. And because of this, they don't pay premium in that scenario. However, if you brought this scenario where you have a group of buyers roughly interested around the same level, if you brought that group of buyers to an auction where they can see each other and they can see the competition is real, they pay that price. They pay up around here because they push each other. Okay? So, then I put forward to the owner, I say, Mr. Vendor, what scenario do you think you're going to have? Do you think you're going to have a lot of people interested in one level, or do you think you're going to have one buyer interested a lot higher? No one knows, and they always say they don't know. And I say, yes, correct, we don't know. The problem with real estate is you have to choose your method of sale before you know what scenario you have. When really you should have your scenario and then you choose your method of sale. And I say to the owner, I say, how about if I could show you a method of sale that covers both of these possible scenarios? Would that be something you'd be interested in? They always say yes. And I say, okay, let me show you something. I show them a private sale timeline, so say you've got a 60-day authority or whatever it may be, the 30 days here, 30 days here, you can sell it anywhere in this timeline, okay? Now with an auction, you've got auction day, which is here, day 30 or whatever it is, and I say, look, I want you to look at it as an auction campaign, very similar to a private sale. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the first 30 days, they're the same. In a private sale you can sell during here, but in an auction you can as well. So what I put forward to them, I say, why don't you have a private sale with an auction option? A private sale with an auction option. And what I mean by that is, if we have this scenario, then we sell it here. However, if we have this scenario, we park the market, we don't sell it here because it's in the vendor's best interest to have an auction, make them fight it out. So a private sale with an auction option, if you've got an outlier situation, you sell here. If you've got this situation, you bring it through to auction. Now, I explained to them that, and if you've seen any of my other vlogs, you will know from video 1 where I talk about the buyer pipeline. We should know who our key buyers are within by day 14, we should know who our key buyers are. And so by day 14, I sit down with my clients and I say, okay, this is where all the buyers are sitting and this is what level they're at. And then we decide what scenario we have and then we decide what strategy we adopt. Do we sell prior or do we rub our hands together and make them box it out on auction day? Now, the advantage of this scenario in using this, a private sale with an auction option, is this. This buyer is terrified. They're terrified to go to auction day. They think everybody else likes the house just as much as them, and they don't want to go to auction. So you call up the buyer after 14 days, after you know who your buyers are, you know that you've got an outlier buyer, you call them up, just say, hey, how you going, blah, 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 blah. That buyer will always say, can I buy before auction? They always do, okay? So it's their idea, even though it's your idea, and that's why you've called them. It looks like it's their idea, and you say, well, look, ideally we want to run through to the auction, we're excited about having the auction, the owners are interested in having an auction, and I suppose we can sell it prior though, but you need to give us a very good reason. You need to give the vendor a reason not to have an auction, and that reason is the price. And because that buyer is scared to go to auction, they pay a premium, so they pay somewhere around here. So, whereas in a normal private sale there is no deadline, there's nothing, they just end up paying that price that they were willing to pay. Whereas in this scenario, they're scared of that day, so they end up paying a premium. So you get the best of both worlds with a private sale with an auction option, plus you get a few more advantages. I'm Michael Choi. I hope you enjoyed that and you got a little bit of something out of that. And if you have any questions, give us a holler. Thank you for listening. Cheers.